Japanese manga, comic books, Japanese animation, smack middle in American comics. Everything from this, he revitalizes 80s properties with his Dreamwave Productions Transformers series.
We started off with like 7 people, and now we're about 40 to 45, and we're steadily growing.
Came out first day or second day, it was sold out. So we were like, wow, you know, like I think we're doing something right.
Selling comic book right now. We also hit the #2 spot as well. Both of them are Transformers.
A lot of children don't even know what comic books are. It's surprisingly, it's like weird because when we collected comics, everybody talked about comic books. Because of the introduction of video games, a lot of the kids, you know, they're more focused into buying video games.
Everything we're about to see today is a time of absolute relevance. Potentially the last great creative run in American comics, the last great time of absolute relevance in American comics. This is post-Image 7. At this time, at the time of the rise of Pat Lee, the Image 7 have somewhat fizzled out. And there's a new age coming. Now, this new age is literally right on the heels of the previous. We're not just talking about Pat Lee and Dreamwave Productions. Pat Lee changing the game with his American anime style. Pat Lee changing the game, coming up through the Image Founder Studios. Some of this also involves Cliffhanger. This is Jim Lee's front. Cliffhanger comes in with Danger Girl, Battle Chasers, and Crimson. Crimson was the only regular book. Crimson, in my view, because we sold a lot of these back in the day, did very well with trade paperbacks. The monthlies, so and so. Battle Chasers could not maintain a schedule. Danger Girl had trouble maintaining a schedule. But Pat Lee literally comes out of nowhere with a new, fresh style, a position that captivated people. What Dark Minds did in just capturing the imagination went right into the 80s licensed comic book boom of the early 2000s when Transformers, Thundercats, everything but Silverhawks. How come no one did a Silverhawk? But we even had Battle of the Planets coming in from Top Cow. And the list goes, DDP, right? Not DDP. Devil's Duo had Micronauts. It was a fun relative time, okay? Things were relevant again, and you pretty much downline bought everything. You bought the new G.I. Joe, you bought the new Transformers, you bought what Wildstorm was doing with Thundercats, you bought what Top Cow Productions was doing with Battle of the Planets, and the list goes on and on. And then something happens with Dreamwave Productions. They go out of business. And Pat Lee gets this deluge of bad press. A lot of people go to this news story that you saw in the opening of this video where they mention they're using their recent fame and fortune to buy cars and stuff like that. Pat Lee positioned himself as, you want to say, like a new boy. He was a new type of attitude for American comic books. The dude was shredded like lettuce, the dude skateboarded, and the dude drove cars. A lot of that idea got replaced. People retconned that and put that onto the Image 7. Totally not true. Pat Lee's the one that built that reputation for himself. Now, we can argue about Pat Lee's drawing and art merits, but right here, we're kind of introducing his business practices. Because when they went under, part of that bad press was that you spent all of your money on sports cars and you didn't pay the people that needed to get paid, and you're out of business and you stole their money. The comic book industry, the comic book market, very much lacks true perspective. Any business that goes under there's going to be people left holding the bag. That is it. It even happened with Chaos Comics. But we're going to get into more of Dreamwave down the road. I just want to introduce you guys to the talent of Pat Lee, who Pat Lee was during this period, and we're going to further explore what he gets to on this channel. But this is, consider this the Dreamwave introduction. AKAPADers, I broke the rule. We're doing Pike first. No, the real rule is I broke down. I am so effing tired right now. I was in my local grocery store, saw these at the point of sale, point of purchase, and I literally broke down. It's also raining cats and dogs in Philly right now. But say hello to Pike. Say hello to Crip. These are our table mascots. Two of the 90s greatest creations. We have Stephen Platt and we have Jim Lee over here. I know I promised the next big thing here. And we're looking at profit. Where are my other books? Let's find them. Here we go. Here we go. Guys, get ready for something cool. If you're not, I'm just going to preview it. If you're not familiar with Dreamwave Productions, you have to be. Pat Lee, Stephen Platt. Pat Lee essentially is a Rob Liefeld pickup. He came through Extreme Studios. Mostly, he drew tech. He drew really good tech. You can kind of see, right? You can see his touches. So, he does good work on Profit, right? Like, hey, Pat, we're going to get you something. So, from Profit's 94, 97 here, right? 3 years later. 95, 1 year later. He's working on Bloodpool. And look at that Pat Lee tech. He's influenced by manga. He's influenced by Masamune Shirow, Ghost in the Shell, Akira, all the great anime at the time. Anime and manga. And we really see, like, he draws nice attitudes, nice hair. The panels are so full. Like, even, like, you know, like, look at some of these panels. Like, it's from corner to corner. But he's in somewhat, let's say it. He's in the studio system. He's working in Extreme Studios. But he does good, like, power poses, right? Like, a lot of these things we want in someone young. Good power pose, not afraid to draw hands and guns. He's good with hair. He's good with tech. He draws vehicles. Now, keep in mind, we're in a studio system to the point of, you know, like, we all know some of the extra help he's getting. But, you know, like, we get good backgrounds. Extreme Studios rolls in their coloring, and we get a complete book. So he does 4 issues of these, does some covers, and then he ends up Wildstorm Productions, baby. And here, pencils, Pat Lee. He apes, like, some of these are Wells Portacio faces. Right? These are Wells Portacio faces. Let me get this one pose here. Let me get to it real quick. It's a guy from the back, but this issue has, it has Weatherman. Let me just find... Oh, I'm sorry. It's actually in the next issue. Wetworks 36. So we have Wetworks 29, Wetworks 30. This pose, the shadowing, see, like, the light's coming from above, and we have, like, look, the hamstrings are going to cut into the bottom or behind the kneecap, right? So we get shadow here, we light it up, shadow here, we light it up. Similar idea with the deltoids and the triceps here. Again, we're shadowing from the bottom and lightening it to the top. We have forms here, so we're shaping the forms, all right? Modeling. But he does, like, he really draws these Wells Portacio faces. It's extraordinary that he pivoted styles. And if you, I feel like if you didn't know better, you would think maybe this was, like, if you pulled this from the comic stand and you flip through this and you ended up here, you would think this was a Wells Portacio page. So he's helping Wildstorm. Then he works for DC, works for Marvel, Punisher, Wolverine, Marvel Knights. He does a Dark Knight mini, I believe it was Dark Knight Confidential, that also had Wells Portacio. Please correct me on that if I'm not 100%. He does X-Men Wolverine, or X-Men Fantastic Four, called X4. And by this point, and we're leapfrogging here, so we go from 90, 97, I just want to leapfrog here, because I want to show you guys, and now we're at 2006. 97, 2006. He develops this anime style, and this is what he worked with on the big two. We see like a lot of like cell shading, painted backgrounds, and here, you know, we get like, he's not great. He kind of degrades a little bit. Less backgrounds, the action isn't as good. But between the two, right, let's just say between Prophet 9 and X-Force Volume 2, Issue 1, we have Dark Minds. Dark Minds changed everything in comics. Literally changed the entire game. So cheers to that. Dark Minds popularized this. Japanese manga, comic books, Japanese animation, smack middle in American comics. Everything from this. He revitalizes 80s properties with his Dreamwave Productions Transformers series. When you read this, it feels like an anime. It really does. Feels like a cartoon. You know, we're dealing, you guys can tell by some of the imagery, very Ghost in the Shell, but we're dealing with lofty science fiction ideas. We have a detective crew, we have babes, we have guns, and this shook everything up. All of a sudden, Pat Lee, and look, here's everyone at Dreamwave Productions. This turned the world upside down. And a lot of it was their production methods, their backgrounds. Like they're cell shaded foreground, but they're painted backgrounds. And he did this. He had there was a couple books that they had in Dreamwave that they really nailed this format. They did their I forget the name of the book. They did their own Record of Lotus War. They had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle license at one time. They did everything. And they were so good with engaging people with their process. I want to get into a true deep dive of Dreamwave Productions because they get a lot of bad press. They get a lot of bad press. Pat Lee somewhat has left comic books. He's not very active on social media. I wish he was. But they swung for the fences. They changed everything. Look at this horrible texture. The texture is not even skewed. Like, the texture should be somewhat in a perspective, but it's just flat. But we saw a lot of this back then. And you know they want proper shading, proper coloring for this car. Like, the ideas, the visions are there. But we get, like, fantastic anime imagery here. And Dark Minds, you thought Dark Minds, when this came out, when you read this, great cityscapes, you thought Dark Minds was going to get adapted. You thought it was on the fast track. You thought it was going to end up in Hollywood. You thought there was no stopping these guys because they tapped into something completely unique. We speak about this a lot. Do you have to know the story? Do you have to memorize the comic? Do you have to know it beat by beat? The answer is no. It's okay to purchase books. It's okay to hunt down books. It's even okay sometimes to pay a good price for some of these books if you want them in high grade. But if you want them just to look at them, if you want them just to appreciate a little bit of the community. Look, they get fan artwork like right away. And here we go, the Todd McFarlane Crow book. Ugh. That didn't go too well. I love seeing, guys, I love some of the ads. Todd McFarlane comes out with the Crow, and then right here we have Mark Silvestri with Michael Turner, Fathom, crushing, like Fathom literally is a wave heading towards the Crow. Completely impactful, forgetful. But these are solid issues. It's a solid work. They're solid ideas. They do somewhat follow the format of showing off the powers early in the issues. Again, like, we want to introduce people to the characters, bring them up to speed on the plot as quickly as possible. And look at the fan art. Like, guys, look at this. What other book do you know by issue 6? By issue 6, that means most of these. So, guys, let's be honest here. People see issue 1. Where's issue 1? People see issue 1. This goes to print. This goes to print maybe like a month or 2 months before we see it. So maybe they're sending everything in at issue 3 to print in issue 6. And were these late? Were these on time? Did the shipping of this frustrate fans and retailers? Yes. But did it sell? Did the trade paperback sell? Were the ideas there? Did it inspire a generation of people? Look, here's the website. Here we go. More. They're really pushing Tom McFarlane Crow. And here we go, guys. Look at Top Cow. Look what Top Cow's up to. Darkness, Dark Knight. Then we get Spawn 84. No one can tell me what happens in this. I can tell you what happens in this issue. Then we get to Crow. Guys, this is a part of the, you know, look at this Akira pose, right? Kaneda. This also represents the changing of the guard. Spawn is really on the way. Spawn really caps itself at issue 100 at this time. 100 is a huge achievement. I love the story of Spawn between 1 to 100, but everything is the young crew. So we have Cliff here. It's called Warlands and Neon Cyber. Guys, these books are solid. But we have everything happening at Cliffhanger. We have Michael Turner and Fathom, and we have Pat Lee and Dark Minds. It's valuable. These books, they're not on the lips and the minds of a comic book generation, and I don't know why. I mean, Pat Lee to complete work history. We're going to get everything Pat Lee has done. We're going to increase this stack, and we're going to go through every single thing Pat Lee has drawn.